variety for you this afternoon. So basically the question is simply from Barry Mahoney, what are the candidates' views on bank regulation? And he notes market failure since August 2007 and a depression that he says is set to last 10 years. So David Campbell-Bannerman, please.
Well, I certainly don't believe in European banking regulation, which is why I went out to Strasbourg just last week to vote against it. But would you believe I was watching the Tories voting for it with great enthusiasm? I mean, there is a power grab going on by the EU of banking regulation, insurance as well, pensions, you know, and it's very, very serious. It's destroying one of our great earners, the City of London. Now, bankers may not be as popular as politicians at the moment, and we have to accept that. But, you know, why you cannot force bankers to lend. I mean, wasn't that the problem in the first place? Clinton forced bankers to lend to people that couldn't afford to pay it back. It doesn't work, actually, as a policy. And some of this regulation is ridiculous. Having said that, I think something like Glass-Steagall, the American system of splitting the high-risk end of banking from the more stable end, is a good way to go.
So what's happening at the moment, I agree totally with David, is a catastrophe. Britain's exports of financial services in 2008, this last year we've got proper figures for, were about £60 billion, about 4% of national income. Predominantly that was from London. This is really the main reason why London is prosperous compared with the rest of the country. There is no two ways about it. The European Union is damaging the City of London, whether it's deliberate. I think it probably is deliberate. I don't think they like us. That is one reason why we must get out of the European Union. And that, by the way, is also where UKIP must be very active in fundraising the City of London, where I worked most of my life, and I have lots of very high-level contacts who I'm sure will give us money if I'm leader. Thank you.
Well, as I said, and as you know, and I know, and the whole of this bench panel know, that the only way is out. I'm not going to pretend I'm a fiscal studies man. I'm not going to pretend I'm from the city and talk a lot of nonsense. What I can say is that I understand the concept. I understand what's going on, just like you do. People sitting there in the audience today. Or some of you are along the same lines as what I'm thinking with regards to the economy. Now, if we can form a Westminster candidates and come out of the EU, that is the only way we'll be able to rectify the current situation. As it goes, the situation now is very frightening indeed. If you sit back and let it continue, then God knows what's going to happen at the end of the day.
There are lots of myths about this. I mean, the biggest one is that there was no regulation, and that's why all these terrible things happen. Rubbish. We've had avalanches of regulation from 1986 onwards, and particularly since 1998. In fact, what's happened is a total failure of that regulatory system. We also must remember, when we talk about the city, it isn't just banks. We've got foreign exchange dealers, commodity traders, we've got insurance companies. It is a massive, and as the previous candidates have said, vital part of the British economy, and we need vigorously to make that argument that Britain's single biggest industry should be managed and governed by our rule book and by nobody else's. And that is why I put together such a strong team of people with real experience to directly go for the City of London. The time is now. I believe we can raise money, substantial money, between now and Christmas, because they're under threat. 1 in 4 hedge fund jobs has gone to Zurich in the last year alone.
Well, congratulations.
I can't see my picture there.
Well, congratulations.
It will happen with it. Don't worry.
Congratulations to all the candidates there for managing to answer a question on a complex subject like bank regulation in under a minute each. Congratulations. The next question, we'll move on to a couple of questions now on really the grassroots side of the party. And this one's an interesting one. To Tim Congdon first. It's from Daniel Oxley from Waltham Forest and Redbridge. And the question is, how many UKIP leaflets have you delivered or handed out in the last 12 months?
I've lost count. I think the question's a little bit difficult because one is both organising distribution of leaflets in one's constituency and also doing something oneself. I suppose I probably distributed about 700 or 800 in Forest of Dean, where I was a candidate. But I had to organise many other people who distributed about 15,000. And can I just say before I finish that I also paid for the insertion of leaflets in the local newspaper. Yes, I'm fortunate because I have got some assets, and I paid for those leaflets, and in that sense I distributed about 50 or 60,000. Thank you very much.
Marianne Bowness, stand up please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my testimony. This lady has made me the great man I am today. Behind every great man there's a great woman. This lady was nearly 20 stone. She slimmed down. We delivered between us 150. You wouldn't recognise her for the same lady standing there today. If you saw this lady 18 months ago, you'd better believe it. Now she's standing there looking like a supermodel. Sit down. What I'm saying is that we've delivered some 250,000 leaflets leading up to the general election. Myself and two other people. So 4 of us all together. And this just testifies. You know, there's a testimony. Get out there, deliver leaflets and lose some weight.
I was the first ever candidate for UKIP in the Eastleigh by-election back in 1993, when that Tory MP died in somewhat unusual circumstances. Yeah, a bit of insequence. I've stood in more elections than anybody else in UKIP. I have spoken at over 1,000 public meetings for this party. I've delivered more leaflets, but most importantly, I've knocked on more doors, I'll bet you, than anybody else in this party. And I believe in leading by example.
Hey, come on, I'm going to stop more than me.
More than you do, boy. Even in the 1 year you've been at it, the very end.